Siege of Khe Sanh was one of the longest, most heavily contested, and symbolically charged confrontations of the Vietnam War, unfolding between January 21 and July 9, 1968, in the remote highlands of Quang Tri Province, near the border with Laos and close to the demilitarized zone separating North and South Vietnam. The combat base at Khe Sanh had been established by U.S. forces in 1962 and later expanded, primarily garrisoned by United States Marines. Its location along Route 9 gave it strategic importance. American commanders believed it could serve as a forward outpost to monitor North Vietnamese army movements, disrupt infiltration routes connected to the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and potentially act as a launching point for operations into Laos. By late 1967, intelligence reports indicated a massive buildup of North Vietnamese troops in the surrounding hills, including well-equipped regular divisions supported by artillery and anti-aircraft weapons. General William Westmoreland, commander of U.S. forces in Vietnam, reinforced the base, convinced that the North Vietnamese intended to attempt a decisive confrontation similar to the French defeat at Dien Bien Phu in 1954. The siege began on January 21, 1968, when North Vietnamese forces launched intense artillery bombardments, striking the airstrip, destroying ammunition depots, and inflicting casualties among the defenders. The shelling was relentless, often accompanied by ground probes and assaults aimed at testing marine defenses. At its height, it is estimated that between 20,000 and 40,000 North Vietnamese troops surrounded approximately 6,000 U.S. Marines and supporting personnel. The isolation of the base made it heavily dependent on air power, and Operation Niagara was launched as a massive aerial campaign involving B-52 strategic bombers, tactical aircraft, and close air support missions. Sensors were deployed to detect enemy troop movements, guiding bombing runs that dropped an enormous tonnage of explosives on enemy positions. The scale of aerial bombardment around Khe Sanh became one of the most concentrated uses of air power in military history. Despite this, weather conditions frequently hampered resupply missions. Aircraft attempting to land on the damaged airstrip faced heavy anti-aircraft fire, while others dropped supplies by parachute under dangerous conditions. Marines endured constant tension, living in trenches and bunkers under near-daily shelling, coping with mud, monsoon rains, and the psychological strain of encirclement. Meanwhile, the siege coincided with the wider Tet Offensive, a coordinated wave of attacks launched across South Vietnam at the end of January 1968, which shocked American public opinion and contradicted official claims that victory was near. Some analysts later argued that the buildup at Khe Sanh may have been partly intended to draw American forces into a remote confrontation, diverting attention from urban centers targeted during Tet. Fierce fighting also erupted on surrounding high ground, including hills 861 and 881, where Marines engaged in brutal close-quarters combat to maintain control of key terrain. In early April, Operation Pegasus was launched by U.S. Army and South Vietnamese forces to break the siege, reopening Route 9 and linking up with the besieged Marines. By mid-April, the encirclement was effectively lifted, though sporadic fighting continued. Officially, the base had been successfully defended, and North Vietnamese forces suffered heavy casualties, though exact numbers remain disputed. However, in a controversial move, U.S. commanders ordered the dismantling and abandonment of Khe Sanh in July 1968, arguing that its strategic value no longer justified the cost of maintaining it. This decision fueled criticism and confusion, as many questioned why such immense resources and lives had been committed to defending a position that was later voluntarily evacuated. The Siege of Khe Sanh thus became emblematic of the broader contradictions of the Vietnam War. Overwhelming American firepower and tactical endurance achieved a battlefield success, yet the political and strategic context rendered that success ambiguous, reinforcing growing skepticism in the United States about the war's direction and ultimate purpose.